still in RE7 revisions. This is the Jack fight, and there are several different things that will change here. Um, so, to get right into it, in this clear battle arena, this is a part of the processing area where you can see Jack is hanging bodies here. These are the bodies of the victims that were murdered in the house. So, in the revised version, we would have this area be something that Lucas set up instead. And it's kind of a arena where all of these victims, instead of just being hanging bodies that are ready to start going into processing to become molded to increase Evelyn's family, like they are in the actual game, they would be considered Lucas's victims. So there would be, say, cages right there where he kept them, and he would send them in here and have them fight. Just like he did with Clancy, he would be playing with them and have them fight his automated sentries and go through all kinds of shitty, nasty-ass traps, in which, of course, it was set up so that they would die. So that's why this area would be here instead of it being some processing area where they were making molded. Let's see. Okay, Aaron is going to go ahead and grab the red dog's head, and instead of it being Jack that turns you around and pushes you in, as you turn around here, there'll be an automated sentry. No matter which way you turn, there'll be an automated sentry behind you, and it pushes you into the pit. So then it jumps down in with you, and you fight the automated sentry with the sword and the shield that you picked up in the other room just before you got in here. The automated sentry, I can describe that in detail now. So it's a mix of computer parts and molded bio-organic DNA. Its attacks will include swipes with its swords. It has frayed on its left hand. It carries its shield, and that's the shield that you picked up before. That shield can defend it from the front. It can defend the exposed parts of the of the automated sentry where you can do extra damage. It has a frayed hand on that left side that it can electrocute you with. It has like frayed wires sticking out. It can bite with its mutated head, so it has kind of like the head that we're going to see later on that poor deputy has in the actual game. It's that kind of sticking out to the side, so it can bite you with that. And if its arms are destroyed, like you can break off the arms. That will be one of its only attacks. It has an attack that is a spinning slash, so the top of the armor will spin in a circle. If you remember back in Final Fantasy 15 when I streamed that, there was a time where we were fighting the assassins, the Magitech assassins, and they have this really damaging spinning attack that they do with both their blades, where the top half of their body spins in 360, and they hold out the blades and they walk forward. So it's a really cool animation too, but it does a shit ton of damage. They kind of do something like that. Their spin attack doesn't last as long, but when it finishes, their back will be facing toward you. So wherever their front legs are facing, their back will then be facing that area. And you can pull out the knife and go and press R2 on that panel, and you can pop the panel open, but I'll talk about that in a sec. The last attack that the sentries have is a self-destruct, so they are packed with some explosives from Lucas. And he can have the sentry rip itself in half, and it comes toward you. It tries to grab onto you to explode. To deal with this, you can either kill it before it gets to you by shooting it, or you can kill it before it explodes by hitting it enough to stop it from moving. But then the explosion will still happen because you'll start hearing the beep 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 beep, and then a common tell to let you know that it's not safe to stand where you're standing. So if you kill it from a distance, the explosion will be canceled. So the strats for dealing with this enemy is you want to target the arms and take away its ability to use its sword and shield. When you destroy those parts of it, it gets a lot of damage done to it, so that is that's where the critical damage for that comes in. It does have parts of human beings sticking out of it, because remember, the molded work, excuse me, by using human beings as their hosts. So it would have a host body underneath all the metal and underneath all the molded flesh. And if you can attack the human body underneath, it does big damage as well. When it does that spin slash, if you use it, if you evade left or right or back to evade the spin slash and go up and pop open the panel by either hitting, you can just hit the panel enough times with the sword and it'll come off. But if you have the knife, like I have here, you can actually go up to the panel and press R2 on it, and that Aaron will stick the knife into the panel and rip the back panel off. And with that, there's two things you can do. You can stick a rewire tool in it, which you'll be getting those from Zoe when you're fighting down there in a sec. We're about to hop down there, and I'll tell, after I kill Jack, I'll tell you where Zoe would come out and things. And or you could attack that part of the computerized parts, and that's where the brain, quote unquote, is in the automated sentry. And once that gets enough damage, it will automatically go into self-destruct mode, but it won't be moving. It'll just kind of freak out there for a second. You'll hear the beep tell, and that's your tell to get away, and then the enemy will explode. Let's see. I'll tell you about the rewire tools once I finish this fight. Once the body has received no damage, attempt to self-destruct. Yep, got that. Alright, so the way this fight will work is when you grab this, the automated sentry throws you in there, and you fight one of them in this area. And once you defeat that one, Zoe will pop out. I'll just tell you now, before I fight Jack, but Zoe will pop out from a panel in the side of the wall there that leads to another one of her save rooms. And she will give you a... when she opens that panel, you'll hear that the other door over there, you'll hear it open, and 3 sentries will come up, and they'll be walking around over here the entire time until they get here and jump in. Zoe will hand you one rewire tool and tell you stick it on the back of it, break open the panel and stick it on the back of the machine. She also hands you a radio signal booster, which is one of your key items. So it's not something that is going to go into your inventory. It's something that is just on your person from now until the end of the game. And the way the radio signal booster works is it tells whatever your rewire tool you have, it tells the rewire tool to not attack who in a certain vicinity of the radio booster. So if you are in between an evil automated sentry, say one's right here, a bad guy, and then your good sentry is right here behind you, your good sentry will not attack. You have to move out of the way and let them go sentry to sentry for it to work. So she hands you those, and you have to fight off the 3 sentries that jump down in here. It's best to, of course, use the rewire tool. So you'll wait until one of them does a spin slash. You'll go into the animation where you pop open the back panel, throw the rewire tool on there. You kind of like jam it onto the back of it, and it will work. And then, of course, you fight. It'll be a kind of a 2-team fight there. You fight the bad guys and destroy them. The way the radio signal works is if you leave a certain area and you go too far, say the signal in the house will work, but if we head outside to the outside lobby area, this signal will fail, and the automated sentry will explode at that point. So it'll automatically go into self-destruct mode if you get too far away. So that's how that works. Let's see. Zoe opens the wall. All right. From there, we gotta explain things that happen after the fight. So we're just gonna have this fight and kick this asshole's butt. But you fight 3 of those sentries, and then you have this Jack battle. After fighting 3 of them, Jack jumps in, and you fight Jack after that. And then at that point, you already have the sword and the shield, so you can basically have a melee fight without having the chainsaw. The chainsaw you wouldn't have in the revised version of the game. And as soon as Jack jumps in here, he would just destroy this. So there would be nothing in between you and him. But you have your shield, so it makes sense for you to have that. The way they do it now in the game, once you get to him to the his final mode, he destroys this, and your block does not completely protect you. So in Madhouse mode, you can, I mean, you guys saw how much of a fucking problem that was for me. So let's deal with this jackass here. Shit. Alright, he should destroy the middle thing soon. This chainsaw battle was a nice idea, given how restrictive this game's combat is naturally. So it was a cool idea to mix things up. And for the most part, it works. It doesn't always work, but for the most part, it does. So you defeat Jack in the revised version of the game, and as you can see here, when he explodes, his chainsaw disappears. Well, it wouldn't do that in the revised version. You would actually be able to pick up the chainsaw and use it to break this open. I would have made that chainsaw the weapon that you unlock instead of the buzzsaw for finishing the game in a quick time. Instead of that stupid buzzsaw, you would get that. How fucking badass would that be? Who wouldn't choose that over this this shitty ass buzzsaw we get? But to explain something that I didn't explain in my walkthrough, you see that light blinking on the chainsaw? If you keep attacking, eventually the chainsaw will turn off, and that's why. Why? I'm not really sure they put that in. You see how it turned off like that? I'm not really sure why they even put that in the game. But you can turn it on pretty easily by just pressing the attack button. But anyway, you jump down in here and you'd have the sword and the shield. You'd fight Jack. He'd automatically destroy this. So you'd fight him in one-on-one melee combat. And I would have him move just as fast in normal and easy mode as he does in Madhouse mode, instead of pushing it back. Whereas you saw how slow he was moving. In this mode, he moves much faster in Madhouse. So I would have him move fast no matter what, to give you a little bit of an edge in the fight. He would be as aggressive as possible as well, so he'd be very close to you for most of the time. Zoe is in the wall here. She would pop up in the wall here. Let me see. That looks like a staircase. Let me get my orientation correctly. Let me get out here first. Hold on. Pop this open. They immediately destroy your chainsaw, so it becomes useless. Pop that open. Okay, I see. Yeah, there is a little stairway here that I don't know why they did that, why they made that stairway, and then they block it off. Like, you can't even go to this staircase here. That's weird. But anyway, this would be a wall instead of a stairway. And she would kind of move some of the bricks out of the way. And you could crawl through there and get into one of her safe hovels. And from there, she would tell you about Let me see. Grab his saw scissor. Yep. Okay, here we go. Defeating Jack causes Zoe to lead Aaron into the second hovel, like I talked about before. You would kind of get a little bit more information on how things got this bad and what happened. She would tell you that, Dad found that girl, Evelyn. She would tell you about Evelyn at that point, the little that she knows about Evelyn. Let's see. Zoe would also experience hallucinations there in the hovel. So she would kind of be frantic and she would kind of tell you, I'm running out of time. This is what happened before Mom and Dad went crazy. So with that, she tells you that you need to head to the old house on the lake to get the arm that Marguerite has. The arms are important to Evie. The arm and the head are important because she calls it the pieces of the imperfect. Basically, what she's referring to is the D-series head and arm, and those are important to Evie because she considers them like a part of her mother, her original family. So she hasn't destroyed them for that reason, because normally it wouldn't make any sense to keep something that can heal the family around, but that's my effort to try and make it make sense that she keeps them. Also, the second hovel has a shortcut all the way out of the basement, so you wouldn't have to go back through the basement like I'm having to do right now. So, Zoe knows that you need the D-series head and arm at that point because she has pages of information from the people who came in. Actually, I haven't told you this yet, but there is a helicopter that is crashed outside that I'm going to tell you about that basically Umbrella soldiers tried to come and retrieve Evie, and they unfortunately failed. And Zoe has some of the pages of their debriefing shit, right? So that's how she knows that you need the head and the arm to deal with curing people who have been infected. All right, and that, by the way, is possible DLC. I would really love to see a DLC of the team who came here before you did and were unfortunately wiped out. Zoe says they were all killed, but I mean, we don't have to kill every one of them. Maybe one of them got away or was infected at the end or what have you. So, anyway, you get back up to the main hall here, and Zoe goes through another slot in the wall down in the basement that's too small for you to get through. So you head back up to the main hall and you head to the outside of the house. In this area, instead of the trailer being there, since you already have the second hovel, there is going to be a helicopter that has crashed through this tree and kind of dug into the ground there. Once you come out here, you'll see PD, Port Deputy, inspecting the helicopter, and this is when you fight your first true molded enemy. So, you'll go up to him. He'll give you the handgun, the broken handgun that's in here. We can just hop on in there. The broken handgun here. He will hand that to you, and he'll also give you some ammunition, unless you've already picked up his G17. In that case, you can still go and pick up the broken handgun at that point. But if you had kept him alive, like I'm saying we keep him alive, then you would go ahead and let me get the shotgun actually while I'm explaining this. Then he would go ahead and give you the broken hand, or not the broken handgun. It wouldn't be broken in that part of the game. It would be fixed and you could use it. But it would be off of a dead body in the helicopter, and that body would appear as one of the first molded enemy that you fight in the revised version of the game. So the way they work is the normal molded in the game would be based off of the quick molded in this game, in the original game, and they would be extremely agile to the point where I want them to be like crawling on walls and leaving like a trail of sludge behind them. And you know, instead of you see how the quick molded kind of looks dry, like it's not even all slimy like the other molded seem. Well, this molded idea is where this thing actually kind of leaves like a nasty slime trail in its wake, and that slime trail can slow you down depending on how much of it uses. If it's like jumping or something like that, it doesn't leave enough, but if it's walking on the ground, it kind of drags its feet, and you can see like pieces of the molds falling off and getting on the ground. And so if you get into that mold lane that it leaves, it kind of sticks to your shoes and holds you down. This molded has several different attacks. So, it can attack from a short range with like a shotgun spray of acid that doesn't do too much damage, it just kind of staggers you. It has a long range sludge shot. So at first, when it first comes up, well, it actually, the deputy gives you the handgun and he gives you ammunition. And as he's turned to you talking, it grabs his hand and kind of pulls him in, and Ethan goes up and saves him and kicks it away. But then it crawls on top of the helicopter. So the deputy's shooting at it, and you're shooting at it, and it's shooting sludge. And the way this sludge works is if it gets on you, it blinds you, and you have to go through an animation to pull it off your face. So what it's designed to do is to blind you so that it will come up and then attack you. Normally, we'll make sure that this kind of molded is not as aggressive and as annoying as the quick molded are in this game, where they hit you and your fucking screen is staggering, and you know, you can't really make heads or fucking tails of it, to the point where if they hit you in Madhouse mode, they only have to hit you like twice and then you're dead. It's fucking ridiculous. And at certain times, they can just go right through your attacks as well, even if you shoot them. So other than that, that shot, excuse me, of sludge, it has an ability to leap at you and knock you over, and it also has the ability to use the bones of its victims, just like the molded that I explained would be stuck in the walls. It uses those bones as claws to cut you with. So the way this works, the way taking down this enemy would work, is that you should attack specifically the parts, just like the guys in the walls. You attack the parts of the enemy that are sticking out of it. So when you... What the fuck? When you first go to this molded, you'll see that the guy's face is kind of sticking upward, and that's the first thing you see move, and he's still alive. But before Ethan can explain, get out of there, get away from that thing, it grabs the deputy's hand and it starts molding, and you have to save the deputy from getting killed. At that point, he can get killed as well if you don't help him. But let's see, you would shoot the body parts of the creature. The way the molded fight, like I explained before, is they prefer to stay away and blind the player before attacking. You can block or evade the sludge shot to get in close to the character's weak spots. Once enough damage has been done, it will fall apart, and this is very important, that it goes into a dissolving state where... Let me get away from this phone. It goes into a dissolving state where it becomes more desperate, and so it will kind of start sliding across the ground towards you, and it's shooting a bunch of acid out. And the whole idea is, it's kind of like with the sentries, when they explode, instead of a ballistic explosion, it'll be an explosion of acid if they get close enough to you. And the difference here is you have to kill them from a distance or block the explosion of acid to stop the explosion, because no matter what, when a molded like that starts to dissolve, they will always explode. It's not like with the the sentries, where you can stop the explosion by killing it from a distance, or by killing it before it explodes. With the molded here, they always explode in acid when they die. So let's go ahead and answer this phone. Once again, we wouldn't need to have this conversation to go to the lake house, because we already did have it in the second hovel, back down in the basement. Is it just me, or does every voice actor sound very similar in Japanese? It's probably because it's me. Because I don't live in Japan, but they all sound very, very similar. Like you'll go on to, if you're watching the anime, like they all kind of have the same voice. You know what I'm saying? So you'll watch one anime with Japanese with the subtitles on for English, right? And it'll be Japanese voice. And then you go and watch another anime, and it's like the actors are playing in this completely different anime. It's, I don't know, it's strange. It's probably because I don't listen to a lot of native Japanese. Jesus Christ, shut up. Come on. She just said, I hope you can handle my mother. There we go. Alright, we don't need any of this crap. There's nothing in there for now. This would be... Let's see. I don't think we really need anything. I can throw that away. I really want to use the 1911. I know the Albert's better, but let me see. Where do I get a repair kit? I can't remember. Fuck it. I know one thing. I only need 3 to get my health longer. Should probably do that though. But yeah, the next parts to explain are going to be over in the old house. Go ahead and grab this. Oh, by the way, I figured something out that I did not show in my playthroughs of the game. You can actually come over here to this area. You can go through here. And if you take that toy axe, remember the toy axe that I found that I didn't really understand how to use? If you take it, you can use it on this puzzle over here. And that will open up and give you a stabilizer, which will be your first reload speed upgrade. So I didn't know that before. I figured out when I was playing off screen. Alright, so that's everything I've got so far that's written down. It's right there at, it ends right here at the crashed helicopter in the revised game. So everything for the next, what, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm just going to make up. So, we head over here. I don't have any problem with this walkway area, that's fine. I know one thing for sure, what I would definitely change is Ethan's movement speed. Ethan would always be moving this fast when he's running. So this is the sprint speed for the game in totality. You will always sprint this fast. He will always walk or Aaron, excuse me. Aaron will always walk this fast when you push forward. And in fact, actually I'll go beyond that. I would have it to where you jog instead of, I'll show you. The jog speed is the speed when you get inside a house. No, it's actually, I can show you right here. This would be the sprint speed. So when you press in the stick, you'll sprint like this. I would have the jog speed, which is when you just hold it forward. This is your jog speed. So when you just hold forward, this is how fast you'll be moving. Instead of that being your sprint that is just slowed down for no fucking reason. I hate that they did that. Delicious. Yep. Come over here. You open this up. And actually, I think I will cut it off here because I've got to go into the second theme of the game, the second most important theme of the game, which is motherhood. So our first theme was Jack, and it was security, and the security that a father traditionally brings to a child. The second theme here is with Marguerite, and it is motherhood. And shit, I would probably throw that kind of stuff up on the screen as like chapters for the game. When you go into when you evade Jack for the first time, you'll see security pop up on the beginning of the, you know, on the front of the screen. You know what I'm saying? And when you walk in here, you'll see motherhood. You know what I'm saying? That'd be pretty fucking cool, wouldn't it? All right, I'll write this stuff down, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in, and see you later.